She booked the restaurant 3 weeks in advance. Not because she loved Valentine's Day, but because she wanted to do it right this year. No last-minute plans. No, we'll just order something. Just intention. The place was warm and softly lit, full of couples leaning across tables, pretending not to notice everyone else doing the same thing. She arrived 10 minutes early, smoothing her dress, checking her phone once, then twice. He was late. 5 minutes, then 10. A message finally came through. "I'm so sorry. Traffic. Don't hate me." She didn't. Not yet. When he walked in, slightly out of breath and holding a small bouquet that clearly wasn't pre-ordered, she laughed despite herself. The tension dissolved in that moment. He kissed her cheek, apologized again, and the evening began. Dinner wasn't perfect. The waiter mixed up their order. The music was louder than expected. At one point, a nearby couple started arguing in hushed but obvious tones. Yet somehow none of it mattered. They talked like they hadn't in weeks. Not logistics, not schedules. Real conversation. About how busy they'd both become. About how easy it is to live next to someone without actually sitting across from them. At one point, he reached for her hand and admitted he'd been trying too hard to make tonight impressive instead of meaningful. She squeezed his fingers and said she didn't need impressive. She needed present. After dinner, they didn't rush home. They walked through the cold air, their breath visible, the city glowing around them. He wrapped his coat around her shoulders without asking. She leaned into him naturally. Back at the apartment, there were no dramatic gestures waiting. No rose petals. No grand surprise. Just candles he lit quietly while she poured wine into mismatched glasses. They sat on the floor, backs against the couch, talking softly. Later, when the lights were low and the world outside felt far away, the intimacy came gently. Not rushed, not staged. The kind that grows from conversation and shared laughter rather than expectation. As they fell asleep, she realized something. Valentine's Day isn't about perfect dinners or flawless timing. It's about choosing each other again, even when the reservations run late, and the flowers aren't arranged just right. And sometimes, that's more romantic than anything you could plan. The next morning didn't feel like the end of something special. It felt like the beginning of something steadier. Sunlight slipped through the curtains, softer than usual, landing on the empty glasses still sitting on the floor. She woke first, watching him sleep with that quiet realization that the most meaningful nights rarely look dramatic in memory. They just feel warm. He stirred a few minutes later, smiled when he saw her awake, and pulled her closer without saying anything. No happy Valentine's Day this time. No expectations to meet, just presence. They made breakfast together, simple, slightly messy, laughing when one of them burned the toast. It wasn't planned. It wasn't curated, but it felt intimate in a way the restaurant never could. The kind of intimacy that lives in everyday spaces rather than special occasions. Later, as they cleaned up, he admitted he'd been worried about getting things right, about making the evening feel worthy of the date. She told him she had too. They both laughed at how much pressure a calendar could create. That afternoon, instead of rushing back into routine, they went for a walk. No destination, just movement. They talked about what love looks like after the excitement settles. About how staying curious about each other matters more than grand gestures. About how sometimes romance isn't fireworks. It's consistency. When the day ended, there was no sense of something fading. Valentine's Day didn't close like a chapter. It blended into their ordinary life, carrying something quieter with it. Because the truth they both understood now was simple. Love doesn't peak on February 14th. It's built in the mornings after, in the small admissions, in the choice to show up again, even when no one is watching.